this clip that we've done is excellent for my other podcast on Z Retro. I'll just take the start of this.
Sure.
And go for it. But this is the next episode of Comedy Guy where we talk about people and not always nerdy, techie shit. My guest today is Rainer Peterson, and he is host of a Puhata ja mängida podcast. They're talking about games, they're playing games, they're huge gamers. He's a fellow podcaster here in Estonia, and I thought we'd just hang out and just talk about everything and see how we're going and talk about your podcast. And like the life around the podcast, the life around what you do, and so let's give us the quick. I guess of you. Let's go. Let's start with you then. What did you study at university?
I'm actually one of those who I'm old enough that when I finished high school, I got a very good job and didn't need to go
the golden days.
into the university. And I became a designer straight out of high school, went to an advertising agency and worked there for like almost 10 years. And now I've been working at Playtech for 10 years and in the gambling casino side of things. And but at the same time, I always kept a blog about video games, like we used to, like 20 years ago. Yeah,
he means vlog, certainly. Yeah,
and wrote about video games, and then got to write for Digi magazine for like 10, 15 years. A lot of game reviews. And at some point, I wanted to make a podcast for a long time, like 07, 06 or something like that, but didn't work out. But 2012, the then head of video games at Digi magazine, Martin Metz, and then head, what's the peatoimetaja, siis head editor Hendrik Roonemaa wanted to start a bunch of podcasts, and they did, and one was about video games, and they got another writer, Rein Soobel, also. So it was three of us, and we started 2012, and we were the only podcast that remains. One was about photography, then there was I can't remember, like a bunch of other things, but we're still trucking. It's going to be 10 years next March, I think.
Not bad. 10 years. Holy shit. How do you, is it just new games? How the fuck do you come up with enough things to say after 10 years?
But, there's a lot of games.
Okay, true. Yeah. Okay, there's news, there's things. Yeah.
There's news, there's new games, stuff always happening also in Estonia and everywhere. But, there are a lot of stuff going on in the game world if you go deep into it. And I think our niche right now is those people who used to play a lot of games but now don't have time for it, and now they want us to play the games and just listen to what we think and what the games are like, and maybe make some videos about the games, and they know what's going on even if they don't play themselves anymore at all, or don't do it as much as they used to. But we think, I at least like to think we provide a very needed service for older gentlemen like us.
That's interesting. So there's, to try and unpack that a little bit. First of all, Fortnite, fuck off, kids.
Don't just Fortnite. That's too easy. But I think I don't like Fortnite because of the building stuff. But they've done stuff right, actually, and I think it gets a lot of flack. But there's the actual gameplay part is actually good. It's not for everyone because it requires, it requires too much time, I think, for us older guys to get into it, get good at building and shooting and knowing the maps and so on. There's maybe too much of that. It's too hectic. But I think Fortnite does some things right. That's why it's so popular also.
True. It must be doing something right.
Yeah.
I've never even played it. I guess I should.
You should actually. I think everyone actually should at least once try, especially because it's free everywhere, and you kind of see what it's all about. I used to not like. I didn't get Minecraft at all. Then I played it. I got it's not a game I want to play for hundreds and hundreds of hours, but I understand why people do it. And that's how I try to approach those games that seem like, why are you doing this? Why are you playing this? But I at least try to try them out.
It's good. It's funny the lengths that we'll go to. I get you as well. Like you... Okay, so we want to try those different styles, try those games that are popular with a different generation and at least see. Because there's some, like in the thing that you love, you probably want to do that, like video games. For example, just today, someone pops up on our Comedy Estonia Slack and says, "What's the TikTok password?" And I was like, oh, I remember I created that weird fucking TikTok account. Not to actually make, don't get me wrong, to not make TikToks. I don't really understand what it is. I know you just flick and whatever, but something happened a while ago and some of our clips, and I think it was particularly one from Roger, someone stuck into TikTok and then they were doing the miming thing. I don't know if that's still a thing on TikTok, but the miming so you could mime to a song, right? You put on Britney Spears and then you mime along. But what people were doing was putting in some of Roger's stand-up, a clip from that.
Oh.
And then doing the bit and then miming the bit, which is something nuts that I never imagined would ever happen as a thing that would happen. And so when that was a trend or whatever a little while ago, I made like at Comedy Estonia TikTok just to grab it and just to, write rude things about Roger and Caleb online and just to grab it, to grab the real estate basically. And then someone came up today and was like, hey, we want to put some of these videos on TikTok, what's our password? And I was like, and it made me like load TikTok for 5 minutes. I was like, oh fuck this. So like in video games, yes, sure, I can see where you're coming from with Fortnite. I like to explore that. In other areas of pop culture, I'm like, I ain't touching that shit.
I'm kind of the same way. I've been thinking about maybe I should make a TikTok account. I know I'm too old for it, and it's garbage. But the thing is, I really like garbage. I like bad stuff, and watching people be dumb. And I know if I make a TikTok account, then I will spend hours in TikTok.
Yeah, you know what I like? I really like cute girls. And you know what's not good? Some device that will just show me cute girl after cute girl. Like, no, this is crack cocaine. I don't want to, I understand I'm a human being, but I don't want to I'd rather just not have that. No, I don't need to.
What I've understood of TikTok, it serves you what you like, and what based on watch time, I think.
Okay.
So if you, for example, watch like dog videos, then it would serve you dogs. If you want to somehow disrupt the cute girls there, so
sure, I try that. I've noticed that Instagram does that, and it's very fast to react. You watch one dog video and then there's dogs. Yep. You happen like some fucking MAGA Donald Trump thing comes up and you're like, oh, I'll at least look at it. That's interesting. And then bam, you're gone down the rabbit hole. There's just, it's a slippery.
But yeah, at least it's better than YouTube's algorithm. We got really screwed by YouTube.
Oh, now tell us about that. So, okay. So you've got, how long have you been putting videos up? Video episodes?
Almost 10 years.
Okay.
Like,
that's a good run.
And but when we started, it went really well. And for a time, it was always like going up and up. And we had these really popular GTA videos, and then we had a lot of fun making those GTA heist videos and everything. And we were. Well, maybe after those, it was like stable, but like stably growing and everything. And then the big YouTube algorithm like massacre happened at some point, and we dropped like half of our views like monthly. And then the other like 2 or 3 changes happened, and it cut us like in half, and now we're basically losing subscribers by doing the exact same thing we've been always doing.
Always did.
Yeah, and maybe even like better production and everything else, and but YouTube is like we've tried. Turning on monetization, which is like useless in Estonia.
Yeah.
There's no point to it. But I read somewhere that YouTube likes to serve videos that have monetization, which makes sense. And tried the thumbnails and everything. Still, we're just not showing up in recommendations, which is very frustrating when you do something and it just gets no reach,
and you can't identify what the problem is.
At least we have so many videos. We have like hundreds and hundreds of videos, and it used to happen that like some of them not viral, but had a little spike. It doesn't happen anymore. Not with new stuff, not with old stuff, and I don't know what it is.
God, that's frustrating. And it's our lives and I guess you would say our careers are in somewhat at the whim of the algorithm.
Yeah. And if I would be doing this like somehow full time or something, it would be even more frustrating. But
sure.
But at Willy, we get support by our Patreon supporters, and that's good. But you always want to grow. You want more people to see your stuff, and when it just doesn't work, But at the same time, we are also to blame. if we want to go deep into like content creation stuff, then we are really bad at promoting ourselves.
Right. So is the world okay? So the world changes as well over 10 years, as well as what? So you, I was almost going to bring it back around to another topic, but wait. So yeah, okay. You're doing your thing. You're doing it how you want. And YouTube sort of doesn't deem you new or worthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder what's changed over the years. Certainly there's a lot more content, so there's less room for it.
But in Estonia, you would think that in Estonia, like videos in Estonian, for Estonians in Estonia would get at least some amount of like traction.
Yeah.
But they don't, and we are not the only ones who don't. Estonian game video thing does a lot better on Twitch, but Twitch is for streaming and not for like produced video content and clips, and it's strange. But we've been mad about it. We've now let it go.
You can do instead start a Twitch, which is nothing but just like an endless loop of all of your videos, the hundreds of them just playing a random.
Yeah, that would not be a bad idea, actually.
I mean, getting there's for all of Google's all-seeing and all-knowing power, they are fucking terrible at separating out Estonian content.
Yeah.
That whether they're, I don't quite believe it, that their geo fences and their geo pinpointing tools think that we're in Russia. Like, come on. You could tell me I'm a street away if I can't get on with that VPN or something like that. But
I don't do it often. But if I accidentally click on the trending tab, I get only Russian videos.
Yeah.
Like nothing else. Not English videos, not Estonian videos.
Only Russian. Yeah. So what? Yeah, I for some years I wondered, is it just because there's a disproportionate number of little Russian kids watching YouTube on their phone in Estonia? I don't think so anymore. Yeah. How come that? Yeah, how come? Yeah, we don't see Estonian there. I never see Estonian in my feed. A couple, but then okay, maybe it knows that it's worked out that I want to see English or something. I don't know.
But still, everyone else, we started from TikTok and algorithms and got YouTube. And I think YouTube needs to get a lot better with their algorithms.
It can totally do it. That it seems like some level of bullshit that the all-seeing, all-knowing Google YouTube algorithm can't work out that people in Estonia look cool. Maybe some people want to see Russian, right on, okay. But that it just seems odd that it's Russian. Like even if they took the average of everyone who's watching, really, there's more Russian people watching. For the lower number of Russian-speaking people there's more of them watching.
There's something going on there.
Right. There's some dodgy shit there because, well, there is one channel that consistently gets to the top of trending of Estonian YouTube.
No, Russia Today, I think.
Comedy Estonia.
No. Okay.
If we publish one of Sander or Ari's videos or Mikal's videos, yes, that will be number one, and we'll. Look, we're very fortunate. Here I am bragging about some algorithm shit. It's not even me, really. It's the guys. But yeah, it's the kind of and that's the reason why I know what, like when you're talking about these issues, why I have some identification with them, because it occurred to me that, we put a video up, Sander goes to number one for a week and then it falls away, but I never see any other Estonians in there. I see Mr. Beast maybe sometimes, and then a whole bunch of Russian just guys with who just saw car mod videos, and someone else has a problem with Putin, and that's it.
And it's weird because YouTube serves me up a lot of different stuff. I mean, I get Polish videos about cleaning carpets, which is a YouTube hole I recommend to everyone. They can take a carpet that's really dirty and then they get it really clean.
Oh, good.
But I don't get Comedy Estonia videos, for example. And,
interesting,
or any other Estonian creator. And sometimes you discover someone by accident, or someone tells you or links in some other channel or in chat or something, and you say, oh, they've been posting like for years and years, and I've never seen this.
Right. The difficulty is that now that that's like the de facto TV that everyone watches, right? It's not, because if they had that level of language and cultural separation on any other channel, we'd be marching, we'd be protesting, we'd be canceling. But YouTube, it's the biggest thing that I reckon young people are watching, and it's segregated by language, and it's not promoting Estonian creators, and that I think is having a real fucking problem.
It's painfully clear, I think, to everyone that you can't make money on YouTube in Estonia. Like even the biggest YouTubers, they don't make anything. I'm thinking on the video advertising itself. They do it by brand deals or other stuff. But I think even if you have like 50, 60,000 views constantly, I mean, you maybe get like a few hundred euros a year.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't want to talk too much out of school. I only know because with Comedy Estonia, most of our videos don't have monetization, and that's just a choice that every one of the artists can make. Like whether when someone clicks play on their video, whether there's going to be a pre-roll. Certainly, if there's something in the middle, that would be a mega no in a stand-up show or something at the end. And Ardo is the only one of our guys who's chosen to do that. And look, off the top of my head, maybe every 3 months he makes 50 euros, I want to say, or something off that. He's got a couple of big specials out there, and it's something, but it's...
is it worth the possible inconvenience of YouTube serving you up like a 4-minute unskippable music video from Turkey or something that I got today? but I've been using AdBlock. I don't usually see those because now that I've been working from home since last March, and there's always YouTube playing on the other screen, and it drove me nuts. It was I mean, if you watch a 20-minute video, the first 10 minutes you get 3 ads. The
3. Now it's commonly 2 at least when I do it.
At least,
it's fucking annoying.
Yeah, and so I had to turn it off. Sorry to all the creators, but have
you heard about YouTube Premium? YouTube Premium. Every time you load the fucking app, it asks you YouTube Premium free trial 1 month.
No.
No.
Be better.
I am a little bit like almost like I'll pay just to make this stop, please. God, no. But that's definitely the wrong reason. I want to go back to just talking about the way your group has changed over the years, and you've got a group of guys, group of people. I mean it in the non-gender form, group of guys, and you're making stuff, you're creating things, and 10 years is a long time. In 10 years, the world changes, you change, your audience changes. And I was thinking about what you said about how your audience changes, because that's something that we've observed over the years with Comedy Estonia too, that thankfully our audience is evolving. Okay, there's still young people. Do young people exist anymore, or they don't exist online? I'm not sure. But so there are younger people coming to those shows. That's not a problem. But then you've still got those people who were the OGs sitting in Merku, in Tartu, back in the day, and that was 10 years ago. And now, they're long since graduated. They're all working for Skype and Playtech or startups or something like that. But they are different people than the janky students they were 10 years ago. They no longer want to sit in a little bar and get a weird dude hit on them. No, they need to hire a babysitter so that they can and they need some parking at the theater, and then they want to book a dinner beforehand. And so we try to do various numbers of things. So there's a theater show if you want to come and see the theater show. There's a janky underground open mic if that's your style, and things like that. So when we understood our audience is evolving, we had to give them something as well, something different that those people wanted. So how have you noticed it over the years? Or start. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's changed for sure. I mean, like I said, it's a lot of people who don't have time to play or play a little bit. But I think I don't have kids, but the other two guys have 2 kids both, and that changes a lot, and don't have time to maybe play together as much, or play different kinds of games and different amounts of games, and that's reflected in the games we talk about, and the news we choose to talk about, and all of that. But it might be you hit something there. Where are the young people? Because sometimes young people, like young dudes, mostly discover us, and then they go back. Back to the first shows, and then maybe when someone just today asked me, hey, I discovered your show, and then do you remember the show you talked about GTA 5 for the first time? And no, but you can go find it, and people just go back and listen to some of their when we talk about some of their favorite games, and I think it's important to have the old archive there, and I think I've I've got into retro a lot. And I think the retro streams and videos I've done quite well in our weird metrics, but and I think that's because our audience is older, and I can see that on the YouTube stats page, and that mostly people are in their 30s or 40s or even older than that. And the weird thing is, to me, is that that's a very good and marketable audience.
Yeah, dude, it's the old white guys with money. Yes, this is who you want.
So we've been trying to get a sponsor who would come in and help us make stuff and so on. But Estonian marketers, they still don't know about podcasts, and they don't get it. They don't understand. So it's been strange. But I've been trying to get kids into our show and everything, into video game, and for last a year and a half, I've had a small segment on the ETV2 kids show, and recommending little bit lesser known games than Fortnite to kids.
That's dope. And I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, and they've been doing well, and I heard that they were on the yearly top lists on ETV's watched clips and everything. So that seems to resonate. And that's why I think it's more about the algorithms and everything else other than us. I think so. I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, hard to know, and it's hard to know how much to change yourself. I understand it's a tale as old as entertainment is.
Yeah.
There's a market out there. Are we getting to them? I mean, now it's just new channels and new things.
Yeah, but it's I know I might sound like I'm sort of bitter about this, but I'm not actually. I don't mostly care because we do what we like, and we with the help of our Patreons, and we have some support, and that's actually fine. It's still fun to do after the 10 years. Sometimes it's a bit frustrating when you do a full day of work and then go do the podcast and edit till 2 a.m. and then you know how it goes. But it's still fun.
It's nice that those fans are there. It's nice that I suspect the only way forward is to just do what you do and go for it, because otherwise you're guessing, you're changing,
you can't chase like your whatever perceived audience might be there or might not be there if it feels wrong. We've done changes like to the show, and we cut news a little bit more and making news maybe a bit smaller segments, and then talk about games more that we've actually played, and then so on. And we used to do a retro when we started, but it got really hard to produce every week. So we dropped that pretty fast, actually. But been format changes here and there, and I guess the pandemic has forced us to more record from home and so on. But I still like the dynamic, like sitting there and then you can see the other person and react, and it's not quite the same over Skype or Discord or whatever. But
I think, and it's also not a bad, like in this conversation there has been a slight tinge, a slight little tingle of, if your audience is 35 plus men, that's a bad thing. And I don't think it's a bad thing.
No.
I don't think even that is right. Not to sort of, you've got a niche. A niche is good.
Yeah.
I'm just not exactly sure. It's good to get the kids in, but do we, oh my God, we've got to get the kids in, otherwise things are...
I just find it funny. It's just like, it's a funny thing, but overall, it's we've said this many times. It's like being in a band. I mean, you go and do your gigs and write new music and perform it, and you do it as long as you can still keep doing it. But
especially if you keep putting out content, you keep going. Like there's one thing. There's one thing I've learned about you Estonians is you love your classic band. Oh my God. If someone was there singing in like the first 5 years after independence, they've still got a career today. They're still around.
But it's
same songs, but still around.
Good analogy. It might be like we're Nancy or something. And we're big and we go away, but still do stuff all this time, and then hit big again. Like
could be, yep. Or just people know they're the legit ones. They're the OGs from back in the day. I tell that to our comedians all the time. Just this industry. Look, things are changing, I guess, and growing in the last few years. But the history of Estonian entertainment industry it's just too small.
Yeah,
it's too small, and so it's far too easy to just be, let's make a hype. Let's put this guy on the front of Kronika. Let's put him to the TV show. Okay, yes, 1 year is big, and then you're done.
Yeah.
There's no substance left. It's been hyped out, and that in this market, just consistency, I think, is what matters. You don't need to explode. What's the rush? Why you need to just fucking build an audience real slow, real solidly, and that Estonian audience will follow you to the end of their days.
And you're shit for the most part of the first 10 years anyway, so now we're starting to get better. Now we're ready for the big leagues. But no, we tried a lot of stuff. We were in talks to start producing a TV version at one point, but it fell through. But now, as I think about it, do I want to do a TV show? I'm not sure.
TV's super. We've also talked to, I think, one or two, look, not big, but let's say more independent or mid-range producers who were thinking about Carl and Arto with Kulapod and their format. They've got a great interview format. Those two are really good at that kind of thing. A little bit game showy, could be like a little bit desky, and it doesn't go anywhere. But look at that's fine. I guess we don't push it as well. But yeah, the question is, I think in Estonian media, what's your end goal with this?
Yeah.
Because it certainly can't be the money.
No. And you were at the mängida like last weekend, and there's this dude who he was on the news like a month ago, and he has this huge collection of arcade machines in a cellar in Lasnamäe. He has like 120 machines or something.
I heard the
like
legends about this guy.
Yeah. And he just likes to collect. And we had a real long talk, and he said, no, in Estonia, you can't make money on anything. You have to, it doesn't matter what you do, you have to go into it thinking this is a hobby, this is for me, and you don't make any money. As soon as you start thinking about making money, everything goes to shit. Yeah. and he just runs the arcade, and there's 120 machines, and he's there on the weekends, and you just can go walk in, and it's a €5 pass for the day.
Oh, it's a thing, because I heard about the guy, but he had him, but he wasn't letting people in or something.
Yeah,
but
he's like open now. He's just said that I just want to cover rent, and everything else is I don't care. You can bring your own drinks and whatever. Just come check out the machines. And then
there's a beautiful tale here, I think, of the city of Tallinn, Estonia. What we like, I'm going to draw a long one on this one, but okay. So there's that guy, right, who runs the arcade thing there. That's cool, right? And just today when I was editing my video about mängida, I was looking at the stuff about Level Up, who are also doing cool shit, who have got that kind of arcade out in Tondi. So in Tondi, there's a place called Level Up.
Oh, they moved.
Oh, they moved. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
They're actually in near TTÜ in Mustamäe border there.
Out there.
Yeah.
And it's like they've got a big space, and it's not just arcade machines, like rows of arcade machines, but they've got like set it up like a big lounge room, and there's different lounges and TVs, and it's like every 12-year-old boy's wet dream. There's just consoles and memorabilia and CRTs and every console you could think of, and you just pay a fee.
Yeah.
And
they're a museum. They
call it a museum, but you can sit down and play as well and be interactive.
And they have a lot of Soviet history there. Actually, the Soviet clone computers and the actual consoles, and there was a lot of strange stuff produced in Soviet market or whatever, and they do good work there actually, and I wish a lot more people went to see them. But it's games in Estonia is a strange. There's been a growth of industry a couple of years now. Disco Elysium hit big. It was on the cover of Times and everything. I mean, everyone knows Kaur-Kender, and he was promoting that pretty hard, and it went well. It made money, and in Estonia, if anything makes big money, then people will go into it. Video games. Okay, we could do this, and I think a lot of small indie studios that have been around for a while have kind of benefited from that, and Disco Elysium has opened a lot of doors. And but I think the big surge is going to start a couple of years from now, and I think the games industry producing games could be big in Estonia because we have a lot of programmers. We have not as much artists, designers. We have them, but not as much. But we lack experience. And but now there are people who have put games out, have worked at other studios abroad, and some talent coming back here. And they're in mine or the business school, there have been like courses for video games for years now, and in Tartu also. So at some point, this is all gonna gel somehow.
Yeah, right. When it comes together,
it just needs money. I think that's the main point. But some small indie hits, and I think at some point it's going to become a big thing.
Right. Okay. So there's this connection between games and games culture and the creating games and then the startup side and all of that.
Because it's Estonia, it's so small, everything is connected anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like video games, you most likely know someone who made video games. I mean, I'm sure you know the story that the creators of Skype, they started as a video game company, and they made the Sky Roads and well, they made the audio software that was also very popular for a while, but they made a couple of video games like in the 90s. And they had a publishing deal even, but I don't know what happened, why it like ended and fell through. It would be interesting to talk to those guys and see what went wrong.
Yeah. So that connection between games, because I was thinking for a moment before about the way that I've been here for 10 years, so I can take on some Estonian attributes, and you can be like, Tallinn, not much here, live in small Tallinn here in the top of Europe, I don't know, it's just Tallinn, small, very small country, but like even in video games, there's like one dude in Lastama where you pay him €5 and you can go and play his arcade machines. And then there's another whole fucking games museum out in Mustamäe where you can pay them a little bit and go and play and have a great time. Like this culture exists for as much as we want to take any given topic and go like, I don't know, Estonia kind of sucks here. But you kind of start looking around, you be like, wait, we actually do have a bunch of cool shit here.
Actually, it's weird that it's not bigger, because when I was a kid, actually I think if not my first, then one of my first experiences with Super Nintendo was in Nõmme or Hiiu, where I went to school. We had this games room, and it was like an residential, like a house, someone's house, and you went in and paid by hour, I think, and there was a row of CRTs and Super Nintendos, and they were super expensive. You couldn't buy it like
sorry, I thought I had some.
Yeah.
That's fine. As long as it's not something blowing up, it's okay. I don't give a shit. They could do it. So there's room, and so someone basically someone already got entrepreneurial.
Yeah, and there were some young dudes, and they had all the newest games. They had, I remember putting a lot of money into Donkey Kong Country, and they had a lot of new stuff always coming in, and it was big, and there was always people there, and I would just used to hang out and just watch the games, and because it was near my school when we had the physical education we went for a run in the forest or needed to go. But I just ran to the Super Nintendo room and was there for half an hour and played something. And there used to be like these cellar PlayStation rooms where they had the first PlayStations, usually run by shady Russian dudes.
Right.
But you could go and play and take your friends and sometimes even rent the machines. But at some point it all went away, and no one remembered and knew anything about video games for 5 years.
Yeah.
and I don't know what happened there.
So, first of all, when you were, look, we don't need to put too much of an age on this, but so this was a Super Nintendo. So, what year was this that you were in your apartment?
I was, I think, like maybe 12 or 13. So it was like 94, 95.
Okay, sure.
Something like that.
And so, so the idea, and okay, so I mean, I guess I don't know, did such things, I don't know many stories about whether such things existed in America, like a place where you could go and play Super Nintendo, specifically home consoles.
I think it's a legal thing. I think it's like public broadcast because if you rent, I think even renting was like a bit shady, but because Blockbuster and all the big chains did it, it was okay. But I think Nintendo and everything fought against it at one point. But their solution was to make some games harder, so you couldn't beat it in a weekend and you would buy it. That's why a lot of old games are very, very difficult. Go and try finish The Lion King or something.
Sure.
I put a lot of money into trying to beat Lion King at the Super Nintendo place.
So Americans might have rented games where here in Estonia you kind of had these rooms or places, games rooms, but you didn't really have arcades either, not like a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but not really. And because here it would... Are you going to bring it back, or do you maybe leave a deposit? But who has a deposit of like Super Nintendo costs as much or even more as most people would make in a month? So, but somehow everyone got by. Someone had a friend in Finland who brought them one as a gift or something. But my first like a game console or handheld was the original Donkey Kong Game & Watch.
Oh, right.
And our friends brought it from, like a family friend brought it from Finland. And it was, you had moving things on the screen and everyone played it. And it was, but my first memory of video games was like my dad was a bartender, and bartenders were really like a high up on the like social rank back then, because they had access to alcohol, and alcohol provided everything. And he had access to like a lot of sailors and foreigners who came. And I just remember being at one of my dad's friends' place, and they had this big box, and you moved the joystick and something moved on the screen. And I haven't found the game. I think it's a CX Spectrum or something. Okay. And it was a kid running along in a forest path and jumping or collecting bananas and jumping over balls. Okay. I have no clue what this game is to this day, but I remember it was colorful, and because it was in color, I think it was a second thing, and I think it was one of the clone CX Spectrums.
Okay.
I think. But yeah, games culture or games have been around here like for a long time. It's strange that it isn't a bigger thing.
Sure. So yeah, it was interesting the different way, the different society, the way that the kids and way kids like you would have in America it was an arcade. In Australia, we did have arcade. I would have gone to. I grew up in a very small town. I always say to everyone, you ever watched Home and Away?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Just like that. That's where I fucking grew up. I know. It makes no sense. Why am I here? Because it turns out that's boring. Okay, enough questions. So I grew up in that kind of thing. But there was like maybe the fish and chip shop might have like one or two or something like that. And then an hour away in the largest city of Newcastle, there were actual arcades, like big, we called it Time Zone, but a place that you could go and there would be lots of machines, and I'd get sort of like $5 or something of coins, and after we'd go shopping for the day, and then after lunch my mom would give me whatever was like the $5 note, and then I'd go turn that into 20-cent pieces, and then I'd go get to play for however long that could keep me going. So we had that. I did live in arcade culture. There was a bit of that. I do remember in my small town we used to call, oh my God, this sounds so janky, the Milk Bar. They called it the Milk Bar. What the fucking 1950s this is. But I would go down to the Milk Bar for a milkshake. Oh my God. And they had a Street Fighter 2 cabinet there as well. So there was some. So we had that. And there certainly was the home console stuff as well. We had in Australia, because it's all rah-rah British, we had home computers. So I had an Amiga. A few of my friends had an Amiga, 3 or 4 of them. So it was like a reasonable thing around. Like before the PC came along, well, no one had nothing. Yeah. Really. So yeah, I knew 3 or 4 people with an Amiga. So that was kind of a thing. so we kind of got that home console at home, computer, and then arcade. But then you guys had these console rooms, and I never would have imagined that going somewhere to play a Super Nintendo. That's cool.
Yeah, but that's pretty much. It's an arcade. I mean,
sure. Yeah, exactly.
People there, and you talk about games, and you find people to talk about games. But I don't know why it all went away. It
was something about definitely. Do we feel like there's something that happened after the PlayStation 1 came?
I think it's the internet. I think internet took
right.
like and pirated PC games and all of that because legit games were very expensive like for a long time, and my most of my like private video game education came from this one disc I brought from Kadakaturg. Everyone who is about my age in Estonia knows about Kadakaturg. It was this big market, like maybe something that you now see in maybe in Asia. You have a lot of counterfeit, like Gopnik clothes and
I saw that shit in Turkey just now when I was there. The Grand Bazaar. Okay. The Grand Kadakaza Bazaar. Okay.
Everything was pirated. It was music and then cassettes and a lot of games, and there was like a lot of like PlayStation games, PC games, console games, all these Famiclone games and Mega Drive games also. And when I got my first CD-ROM, it was like 486 computer, I think, 66 megahertz, and I brought a CD. And I didn't think about it. It was, I think the seller recommended it to me or something. I don't know why I bought it, but it had like 140 like full games on it, and it was a very nicely curated collection. It had all the Dooms, it had all the LucasArts adventure games, almost all of them. All the shooters, all the platform games, like everything, all the best games that were out by that point.
For PC.
For PC, yeah. And I just went through, and I didn't know that it was pirated.
Sure, it wasn't a thing that was sort of in your world to know.
Yeah. But I somehow thought that these can't be like full games, but they were. Only maybe like music was cut or videos or intros were cut. And it was also almost every game had a walkthrough, and it also helped me read English better, maybe, and understand like the concept of walkthrough and like what is this text file and what it explains, goes through all of the game, and so I can actually finish. That's the stuff that I don't think happens that much anymore. And you pick up a random thing and it kind of changes your life a little bit. And I've been trying to find if a scan or something exists of this game or this disc. It was Igra something, but I haven't found it yet. And I don't think I still have put together all the games that were on that. But I've been trying to rebuy everything just to like pay like some sort of karma debt something. Sure. I have mostly all of those games if they're available. But that's, I don't know. I've been going back to retro and old games and game preservation and everything, and I've been thinking about all, like maybe 10 years ago, an Estonian game import company who sold console games and PC games. They started putting out Estonian games, like translating games into Estonian, and these are. They were mostly not very good games. I think the best ones were Gish and Hidden and Dangerous or something, and a lot of shovelware bad games. But still, no record exists of what these games were. What were all of the there were around 100, and some had voice acting with Anulamp and all this. And there's maybe one or two YouTube clips of these intros, but there's so much more. And I've been thinking this is kind of our culture. We need to preserve this. Maybe I should start doing it, or like contributing into
I mean,
it,
where to find these, because I wouldn't even say
All-Star,
I guess I don't even see many like that. I would maybe you start putting the word out or something to these, because people might just see them and just go,
and I think before it all goes away, we should like at least scan and rip all the discs, because discs go bad like in 10 years, but there's nothing been written about these games, or
kind of seem to have just disappeared. I mean, I guess it's been more difficult if they weren't great games.
Yeah.
If there were some great games, maybe
they were in bargain boxes in Prisma for like years, and I thought about it then even, but no, I don't know. I don't have. Sure. Sometimes someone else will do it, but no one has done it, and I think all these years doing the podcast and doing everything, then I kind of feel I need to be responsible here, because step up, because no one else is stepping up. Maybe I should do that.
That's interesting. I mean, we do need to preserve games, and I didn't even know that there was a certain attempt to make these games with the effort. Like, I just wonder that, like, there's a cost to get things translated. There's an effort. If there was voice acting, and somehow they thought they were going to get a return on investment.
I don't know why they did. I understand doing it like maybe for good games, and you do one or two maybe big games and do those, but like dozens of garbage, like not good games. I guess they got licenses, but still,
sure. So
printed discs.
How can they get a license for some? If you're a big company, even a big company doesn't listen to the small market here. Have you played any of these at all?
No, because most of them require Windows XP.
Oh, okay.
So it's another thing. You need to either set up a virtual machine or try to find an old PC or a laptop or something. But first thing would be to collect them, scan them, archive, rip the discs, and have some sort of list of all the games that have been put out, and that would be a start.
And maybe they run in some sort of DOS box style kind of thing could work, or something like that. To get them
I think that comes later.
That would be the least of the problems, trying to get them together.
Yeah.
Do you think was acceptance of games in Estonian language maybe an issue? Like, the amount of time people have whinged to me, like people whinged, I don't know why they whinged to me about it, about Microsoft Word and the seemingly arbitrary words that were picked to describe things.
Yeah, because the translations are like not bad in a technical sense, but bad in a like this is how people talk and think sense.
Okay, real life.
That's the problem. You can, I think Tegumiriba, like the start bar, or that has been like taken over to real language, but there's so much stuff that doesn't make any sense in Estonian. When you think about it, okay, this is literally this does that, but I don't know why you would say it like that. I always, some programs like to help me and turn automatically the Estonian version on if they have it. This is the first thing I always turn off. I can't do it. It's horrible. But like Finns do it all the time.
Finns do it, yeah. And most other people, most other cultures that I've found do it. But like, what would you, because if you've got, say, I mean, the Word is the best example, maybe Windows as well. Like, there's so many things. So many very specific things that you need words for. Look, and I guess a lot of we just said other countries do it, so why the fuck can't we? Why did Finland accept it and not Estonia? That's the interesting one.
I think Estonian language is it's also a tricky one, as you know, I think.
I did just come from Estonian class,
but games are another kind of beast, because the weirdest thing when we started the podcast was talking about video games in Estonian. you don't have words for game systems, like FPS. There's two ways. We've used esimese isiku tulistamine.
Okay.
But that's like it's direct, but it might be that you shoot the first person.
Okay.
Or
end of game.
Or,
you shoot the first guy in Duke Nukem. Game done.
Or you use läbi silmade tulistamine, like through the eyes, but that doesn't sound so good. So we used first like esimese isiku. We came up with which we coined the term massirollikas. For MMOs,
okay,
like massively multiplayer massirollikas, makes sense. And we've been trying to find these other words for games or game-related things that don't or haven't existed, and I think we've popularized some of them in the small community that we have, but it's a real problem, and I don't envy anyone who like 10 years ago or whenever those Estonian games came out was trying to translate everything I don't know.
Because what we're seeing is these things are hard to do centrally, to come up with a translation of very specific terms, games term, technical terms. It's hard for one company, one group, one person to sit down and decide. It needs to be something that comes out of the community, which that takes time. And companies don't often have time. The next one, though, I want to get at is I love it. I love when I said, okay, yeah, they do that in Finland. And you went, oh, but the difficulties of the Estonian language. Fucking Finnish. Finnish. Anytime Estonians want to roll the, our language is so difficult thing out, I go like, they can do it in Finland.
But Finns have another small twist to that because they're not very good at English.
We were waiting for it. That was where all this was really going. I know.
Finns,
it wasn't an option to stay with English. We will accept it.
Yeah, you can get by on English in Helsinki or Tampere, but try to go to a bit further there. And you can go to Rakvere or Rapla or Võru, and you can talk to English to almost anyone in the 30s, 40s.
Absolutely.
But it's not like that in Finland.
That's a good point. So willingness. So there's a technical difficulty to your own language balanced off with a willingness to accept English on the other side.
I think in Estonia also what makes it even more difficult is because a lot of the computer language comes from print, like technical print terms, like printing machines.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Finns already had those words in Finnish, but in Estonia, a lot of those were in they were Russian words.
This gets even better. Yes, go ahead.
So you can't translate or use those words or those terms. I think actually is more into the computer world.
We're sort of saying that Finnish could do it because they were a free and open country so much sooner, where we were under the oppressive nature of that oppressive power that wouldn't let us make up our own words for things.
and to this day, I mean, I used to work in advertising and in print shops and so on. And Estonians use English words for everything, but you go to Finland and they have their own words for every process or printing part or printer part, and in Estonian you use the English version of the word. Yeah.
So did they get that technology a bit sooner in Finland, and then?
Yeah, sure.
Right, because there would have been, after 91, then, why didn't we just call it Estonian?
Yeah.
So there must have been something about before that.
Like you said, it needs to come from the community, and you use some sort of maybe cumbersome Finnish word, which morphs into something else, and so on. So you have I'm sure you know the where it's called uppercase and lowercase keys.
Okay, sure.
Do you know it? Do you know the story on the keyboard?
Right.
You have uppercase and lowercase.
Sure, yeah.
It makes sense, but it doesn't if you think about it. But it was because in print shops, when you made the printing plates, the bigger words were in the upper cases, and the smaller letters were in the lower cases. So uppercase, lowercase, and that went on for keyboards and or like typewriters, and then to keyboards and stuff like that. And if you're a press country that uses many different languages and for technology and so on, and you don't have those stories.
Yeah, okay, that you don't do it. So then I wonder, because for some reason, again, Word always gets trotted out as the classic example of some, I guess because everyone uses it and maybe there's some particularly egregious examples in it. So again, taking something like Word, which is so ubiquitous, so everywhere, so it's not just like we're at the startup making the new program, we're going to translate it ourselves, something that everyone uses. Like how could we possibly and practically go about finding a translation for those things in Word?
I don't know. It would have to be like some sort of community experience, or where you can dynamically change, or it.
But then again, I've realized there's nothing more you Estonians love than arguing about Estonian. Oh, you fucking love it. Oh, you didn't say it right. No, this way. And then, people arguing about words, what things should be called. Especially, Estonian computer nerds. Oh, it's going to be so good.
You have to give it to Katie Wilmsen. She will do it.
Who's that, sorry?
Katie Wilms. She's very famous on Twitter and Instagram for just making up new words or digging up old words that were used once or made up at some point but not used very much. Okay. And just, I don't know if she's actually a linguist, but a linguist.
Okay, using language like that. All right, that's cool. Oh. Well, that's one of the things that I'm very proud of with our Comedy Estonia guys. You know, like in the same way that that when rap came to Estonia, you know, they learned to bend and change, and I do think again, maybe a detached perspective. I'm not sure, but you know what Sander's contribution has been to not just being the first funny guy in Estonia. But the first guy to take the language and bend it and change it in a stand-up way, as much as he says that after 2 months of classes. Not like I've understood it. That's just been my observation when people have talked to me about it.
Yeah, stand-up has evolved because I was a big stand-up guy even before you guys started, and we had this whole thing with our friends. Oh, we should start this thing, and then you guys came along and did it. We didn't have to do it, but it was always like I was at one of your first open mics in Nokku Klubi. It was 10 years ago.
Yeah, sure. Upstairs there used to be the card sometimes. You needed a card to get in. I never understood that.
And I remember the level of guys there back then. Open mics are open mics, but still, and you look at those guys now, some of them, and it's been a big progression. And I think stand-up is, I think, also like video games, it gets too little attention, I think, in Estonia. It should be a bigger thing. That's just
there's things okay. Oh, actually, no. This can loop back to what we were talking about before. Coming from what you just said, what makes things big? Okay, what makes things big or mainstream? Radio and TV.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it makes them. Look, we're in a weird transition period because I think more people are watching YouTube, but somehow we're still stuck in this mindset that if it's on TV and the national broadcaster's doing it, that's way more legit.
Yeah.
And my observation of the Estonian television and to an extent radio industry is that they're with 1.3 million potential customers, even less with the Russians, you just do not have a largeable, addressable audience size to make anything profitable, to make anything. So TV is fucked all around the world, but TV is particularly fucked in Estonia because they still need to make whatever it is, 16 hours of broadcasting every day, but they only have 1 million people to do it. At least in Finland, there's like 5 million people, to pay their taxes or whatever it is, or to pay their subscriptions to still make 18 hours of TV every day. And I think that has left a deep conservatism in Estonian entertainment culture. Look, everywhere. Look, TV's dog shit everywhere. I'm not trying to say like, in America, they're so enlightened. No, but they're not going to take it. There's zero money left to take any chance on anything like stand-up, like video games, something like that.
So we're in the same hole. We have to write it out. It will, I'm pretty sure most of the TV channels will go away at some point. And for some reason, they open up new ones. But I guess they don't produce anything new for those or whatever. But it will take like 5 years for all those kids now who grew up watching YouTube. They have never had TVs in their rooms. And people thought or were afraid that this would happen earlier, but for some reason it didn't. People still watch TV for some reason, but those kids will grow up, and maybe even their parents never had a TV. Always watched, because YouTube's been around since not 05.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
something like this.
There's almost 2 generations of people now that have had internet TV always on, and it's going to bring some sort of change.
Right. So what do we do though when the problem is that YouTube doesn't recommend anything in Estonian? It's a conspiracy by ERR and TV3 and the whole lot of them.
We should make a startup and make like YouTube, but in Estonia.
Yeah,
that's going to be the solution for everything. We start our own video streaming service. That's going to be cheap and cheap to start and very profitable.
Let's get here's a segment that we have often. It's called "Let's Get Lewis Angry," and Lewis gets angry when we start talking about Estonian. Streaming sites or broadcast sites that I don't know if you had these people, but during the pandemic, it was literally almost every week I had another, we're starting an online, it's going to be a streaming site, it's going to be paid only. Of course, everyone's going to pay the subscriptions. And if you want, Comedy Estonia, you got to put your content up there. And why aren't you doing pay-per-view? They're coming to us like we're a bunch of fucking idiots because we never thought, why aren't you doing pay-per-view? Not because we don't want to, idiot. We know how to do it. We just don't think it's a good model. And they're like, and we're going to put you on our platform and people can pay either a subscription or they can pay a one-off and we'll only charge you 50%. And
it would be even better if you had to pay them at first.
Probably. They make it sound like it is tremendous gaslighting from, Telia and Elisa are the hardest ones. They think they've got their network and they're in everyone's homes and they think they're like, no, we'll take 50%. And I'm here to tell you, go fuck yourself, Elisa and Telia. There is no chance that I need to give you 50% of our streams, because all you're telling me is I need to sell half as many streams to make the same amount of money and not give you any money. I would rather do that. And it was just, and then I would look at them and go like, no, your 50% is highway robbery. We're not going to do it. And they would be like, what? Oh, but, because that's their big business model. And the only, I don't know, because all that kind of fell away, right? We all came out of our caves to a certain extent, and then that hasn't been able to carry on. We're not live streaming at bars and stuff quite in the same way we were before. The only company to offer a reasonable solution to this and a fair, to offer a streaming service that's got the security and got all the different things you want, the only company to do that, Piletelevi. Piletelevi, they didn't develop the whole thing themselves. There is a back-end system that they've bought in that done that, and then they brand it Piletelevi, the streaming platform. Piletelevi have very reasonable rates, and I want to look off the top of my head, I don't know if I'm saying business secrets, 10, 15, like in this ballpark, right? Way more reasonable than 50%. And the reason that Pilete Levy can do it, to their credit, is they understood they don't need to get streaming. All they want to do is sell motherfucking tickets. And they're like, cool. Because you know what? If someone buys they're buying a ticket through us. That's all we want. We'll host it. As long as we don't lose a whole bunch of money on this streaming thing, it means that people are buying tickets, and that's our core thing. And they're the only company that got it. Did you get offers and stuff to put your shit up different where? Did you get some of these things?
Well, the only thing was the TV thing, and we've been, maybe radio, and we were working with Delphi for a while, but no one knows how to sell advertising into podcasts.
Yeah.
And I've talked with like advertisers directly, and they just, and I show them the metrics and everything, and it's actually like pretty good, I think, but and it's a very specific audience, and we can give you stuff you can give to your ship to your listeners and then pay for the shipping, but I don't.
Very few people in Estonia want to give you money.
Yeah, no one wants to give money.
No one wants, and that's one of the reasons. Comedy Estonia, we do not have generally we don't have sponsors, not many, and if it is, it's usually very small things. It's just companies we like, and that sort of thing, and maybe that's evolved into something slightly bigger. We know them, we like them, but every single conversation comes down to, hey, we're Comedy Estonia, would you like to sponsor us? Oh, okay. We want to give you some stuff. No, we don't want stuff. We only want money. Or, the only thing the stuff we might want are the expensive things we'd be buying anyway. So,
yeah.
like, hey, if whatever the airline came to us, we'd be like, yeah, okay, great. That's something we're actually spending money on, so I could do that. And then they go like, nah. And then maybe they say like, well, okay, we see Comedy Estonia has some presence. All right, well, we're thinking about this amount of money. But to them, it's shitloads. It's a lot of money, right? And to us, we're like, well, not like we're superstars or nothing, but it's like, no, I wouldn't kind of fuck around for that amount, right? The money on offer is really little. And then we realize like, oh, we're going to have to do all of that for $1,000 or 500 or something. We're like, nah, because it's like that thing when someone, what is it? Like when there's a product to buy, if I'm selling a product and someone thinks it's really expensive, they'll be like, all right, I'll buy it from you because I have to. And they'll be like, yeah, but this fucking thing doesn't work and this thing doesn't work. And you're like, what? No, that was a good price. What are you talking about? Don't complain. I thought I was giving you a good price. No, it's a fucking terrible price. When there's a difference, like sponsors think, and look, and maybe rightly, I want to say, look, maybe rightly think they're giving you a whole lot. And they, again, maybe rightly want a whole lot in return.
Yeah. And thing I've run into many times is, no, it's a really good offer, and we would like to somehow work with you, but we've made this year's budget already, and there's not, you coming to us after we made our budget for I don't know what time, and there's no marketing money left. And I say, oh, okay, maybe then next year or whenever we can talk then, or let's talk about this, and then never come back again. And sometimes companies, well, because we're like games and everything, they offer stuff, and could you do like a video review and then send us our thing back, and you just make the video. You can get views on your video and by reviewing this.
They don't want to give you the game.
Sometimes back in the day they wanted the game back also. It's strange. I mean, doing reviews for money is also weird, but
right, how to balance all of that? Sponsorship, okay.
Yeah.
Paid review, not okay.
Yeah. So we've sometimes. When we had these offers, I've written back and said, yeah, no, we don't want, but if you want to sponsor us by giving us stuff we actually need, we need a new screen, or we need some computer parts to have a better streaming machine, or we can do like a couple of months to say that this is sponsored by this, or do a video showing when we assemble it or something. No, we have this one crappy looking monitor that's. I don't know. It's a strange market out there.
I think marketers what they kind of want is podcasts are a long-term marketing thing. And like to answer your question, why don't they get it? Because podcasts, to get the true value out of it, it's long term.
Yeah.
It's that you like the product, you're genuinely into it, you're genuinely talking about it. It's that exposure, all thing. But marketers, and I get it. I was kind of considering like when we sell a Comedy Estonia show, I ain't thinking about 6 months. I just want to sell the show in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'm a certain example of that, but maybe they just can't. It's harder for them to see a long-term gain on it.
You don't want to sell a product. You want to grow an image, I think, or be associated with this. I listen to these guys. I've been listening to them for 10 years, and they think, this product or company is cool, and it's their sponsor or whatever, and then I think this company is cool also. I don't care what they sell. That's the long term you're talking about. I think that would work, but I don't know how to change the
it's like
marketing
what's the term for it? I don't know the terms that well, but it's like that's brand marketing. Like there's whatever like specific marketing for here's our thing, here's the thing I want you to buy right now.
Image marketing,
right? I just want to put my thing out there. That is, and I would say again from our experience at Comedy Estonia, something that comes a little later because the budgets are usually so tight that you're like, can we afford to just pay money just so more people know and think nice about Comedy Estonia? In the long term, yes, very valuable. In the 6 to 12 months, I'm like, I don't know.
What pisses me off the most about that is I used to work in a big advertising agency, and I had these media plans that were, everything that goes out to what banners and what print ads and everything. And I knew how much those cost to the client. And one of those, you take, Postimees or Linnaleht or whatever, and you have this like a small, not even like a fourth of a page ad. You take that money and give that to a podcast every week, you have much more eyes on your product or company than you will ever have with those print ad. Well, I guess the print markets also died in the past 10 years, but still.
I see your point. Classical advertising costs way more. Could this easy brand marketing cost a lot less?
Yeah. So I don't know why they don't at least try it. And I mean, there's so many podcasts in Estonia. I don't know if you've noticed, but like podcast.e and Podcast Estonia, or they collect all of the podcasts. And there's hundreds. A lot of them are about crypto and startups and investing. But even if you exclude those and you have all the more interesting ones, there's a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
And you would think that someone comes along and says, okay, let's try this. Let's give like 5 of these guys some money every week and see what happens if we make it out worse or better. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm only thinking from the podcast Comedy Estonia has. I don't think no one's rolled up to Tussi Sojad with a check and said, here's a reasonable amount of money on the table for you guys to do that. Look, again, okay, so maybe when the podcast is called Tussi Sojad, okay, maybe, again, that's the factor there that people aren't going to come. But I would have, like... No one's rolled up with a decent amount of money, a reasonable, not how to say, like a polite amount, and said, "Hey, can you?" Yeah, and that's pretty much number one. So I don't know where everyone else is at. But I know this is not Estonia specific problem. I think because one of the biggest gaming podcasts, Giant Bomb, they've talked about this like a couple of times that bigger companies that used to own them, CBS, and they had marketing divisions that just didn't know how to sell them. But they had like over 500,000 listens every week.
Yeah.
And how can you not sell that? It's the internet market's a weird place.
Interesting. Rainer, we might wrap it up there. Just make it
sure.
Yeah, we can have some more in the future. It's good rather than go for hours and hours.
It was a good talk. I mean, I can go into video games and internet specifics all day.
Yeah, let's see. It's giving me a lot to think about. Maybe we'll come back again, and some of that Estonian internet history is very interesting. And a bit more of that too.
Yeah.
Cool. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.